Hello, everybody. You have tuned in to Eric Jose on Making a Murderer on YouTube. I cover virtually any aspect of making a murderer. I go over the evidence, the documents, the photos. So if you like, stay tuned, and in the future I'll have many more videos besides the one you're about to see. All right. Let's get this party started, right? Okay. So very, very soon I'm going to have somebody calling into the show, and we'll have a little chat, but I guess go on to what I'm going to be talking about a little later on. Oh, there he is. Hello? TikTok? How's it going, buddy? Hold on, let me put it on speaker here.
Yeah, I've got my volume up so I can't tell. I don't want to cause an echo or distortion. Just want to make sure that everybody can hear.
All right, can everybody hear? Just say a little bit more.
Hopefully everybody in the chat is able to hear. If not, just give a thumbs up. Or I believe I can be heard. Looks like Miss Chris can hear me.
Sounds good.
Go. Okay,
yep, great. Sounds great. There we go.
Okay, so what I'm going to have to ask first is that anybody under the age of 15 needs to leave the room. We won't go that far. Yeah, so I got to say, man, you are the most dapper and stylish YouTuber out there.
You like it?
I've got to say.
It's the tie.
You got the hair did right. You know, the suit going or the outfit going. You're looking sharp.
Yeah.
Sharp dressed man there.
It's the tie, man. It came from all the way from Scotland, from Mr. Capaldi. It puts it all together, you know.
You completely kicked off the MaM-A-Thon completely the right way. So
yeah, awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be a great event. 4 days, or 2 days, 48 hours. I think that everybody's going to really enjoy it. You know, you got really good hosts that are going to be very informative. You know, giving informative stuff. So
yeah,
I guess really we should just kick off. You know, just talk about whatever you'd like to talk about. Ask any questions or anything like that.
Yeah, sure.
And yeah, we'll go on. What did you think of the clip with
King Kratz?
Our wonderful. Yeah, I like to give top billing to Rookie because he stole the show. We have King Kratz on there. Really, anybody can steal the show, but
yeah,
Kratz he did pretty terrible. I put a tweet out about it, and I was like, 10 episodes of making a murderer to look like a villain, so he demands that somebody else make a documentary. Right. They turn around and make him a villain.
Right. So, yeah. I mean, he had so many different facial expressions, like contorted, tortured expressions while he was talking.
I wasn't sure if he was talking or doing a number two.
Right.
He's he really was moving around. He was so fidgety too, and very, very immense amount of body language.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe.
Quite animated.
I couldn't believe that they released that to us. I mean, just the fact that it's supposed to be from his side, his perspective, and then to just release that on us and give us like this total insight of the Ken that we all know exist. You don't get to see that on the news.
Right.
Whenever Ken's doing those interviews, he's Mr. Professional.
That's what I immediately said too, dude. I was like, whoa, it's not a softball interview. Ken Kratz is actually getting some real questions. I was like, holy crap.
He looked panicked. He looked like Rookie had him against the wall. And I mean, of course, the other side, Gilters and Kratz himself, they're going to sit there and say that, they weren't professional questions, but they were the questions we all have. The questions have been arisen from the documentary. And basically, they're the kind of questions I would ask. I mean, convicted murderer asked me to do it, and I declined. I have no desire to do anything like that.
No, really?
If it was another show, and I'm really glad Rookie did. Rookie stepped up to the plate and just hit a home run.
Right on,
minute and a half we got. I mean, imagine how long that's going to go with Rookie just grilling him over and over and over.
Right, I can imagine.
I'm really looking forward to that.
How much of that 4.5 hours are we going to get, right?
I have a feeling if it's a documentary, is kind of like making a murder where it's spread out. I think we'll get quite a bit, but if it's just like an hour and a half, like his previous documentary, White Boy Rick, I have a feeling that that's going to be really condensed, and we're going to have to like beg and plead for the actual footage that we get, or that we can pray we get, because I really have a feeling that Rookie kind of, he really, I mean, even the Guilters, they showed him some respect. I was really surprised to see 2 or 3 like really prominent Guilters like kind of give a hat to for like just taking it to Kratz, you know, and just asking him the questions we all have.
Yeah.
Kratz's reaction did not get very good positive feedback from their side, but I mean, he could do no wrong to a lot of people in their minds, just like to us. I mean, obviously, you know, we're on Team Zellner, so we pretty much agree and support anything that she wants to do. So, you know, whenever Kratz says something, it's, you know, to this gospel. You know, they've been reading this gospel or listening to his gospel for 12 years now, and they're bought into it. I mean, it's your echo chamber.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the thing that there was a couple things actually. I did a video to point out what I thought was odd, but the one that stuck out to me the most is when he started talking about Steven's motive. And I was just like, oh, you turd. You didn't offer one. You know, it's like...
He really had no motive if you think about it. I mean, there's a whole, you know, he got rejected, so, you know, he's going to... I don't buy that.
It's all weak, right? It's all, you know, maybe.
Exactly.
Right?
He gets up to, I mean, here's you. Well, the guy came out and wanted to get him. He got impeached like really quick. I mean, how many of us single guys out there are sitting there going, you know, oh, can't find a love, can't find a woman. He comes out of prison and immediately finds the woman that he wants to marry. I mean, how is that? We're going to take the picture of my car, and you know, maybe she's pretty, maybe she's hot or something. Mm-hmm. Maybe he's thinking that's the other side thinking. But it's just amazing for me to think that anybody could even use that as a motive. I mean, if that's his motive, that's everybody's motive. You know, if they thought that she was an attractive girl and, you know, made a move and she rejected her. I mean, anybody, you know, who knows how many people, like, whenever she would go out, they get a rejection from her. You know, if they try to buy her a drink or, you know, flirt with her in a grocery store, you know, oh, she rejected me. Yeah. That was my motive, you know.
Yeah, and I believe there is an account about her saying that somebody on the Auto Trader route actually did like make a pass at her and asked her to come inside, and she actually said it made her feel uncomfortable or something like that. So it's like, so obviously that was happening, you know.
Yeah, according to Pierce, Tom Pierce, she had made that statement to him that somebody had offered her drinks, or maybe it wasn't Pierce. I believe it was Pierce. It might have been the Yahoo guy, the guy that she was Yahooing with.
Oh, right. So, okay. Right.
I mean, it could have been him. I'm not quite sure. I haven't gone through the whole queso. I've been having so much fun in the new queso and just going through and like rereading some of the parts of it. And you know, there's like that thing that I just found recently. I found it. Apparently, it was already out there. I never knew. But there's that particular moment where they're asking Bobby a question, and you know, it's Jeff Witch, I think, that asked him about when he left or something. And at that exact moment, Bobby's child starts screaming. I always turn the volume down when the kids start screaming in that interview. Right. And I never really noticed it, but I had my TV on, playing it on YouTube and just listening to it.
Right.
And I didn't turn the volume down at that part, and that's where I heard him say, "She left before I did." So I left before she did, rather. I'm sorry, I got it backwards. She left before I did. That, to me, you know, I mean, to a guilter, that sounds like, oh, he knew that she left. But to me, that sounds like he left and then realized that she left later because, who knows, maybe he met up, maybe he was following, or maybe she was right behind him on Avery Road turning on the 147. So for that little line to slip by the Dietering and Witch, really, like, it really shows the kind of investigation, I guess you can call it, that you would get from Dietering, because the whole outlook of his investigation with both cases doesn't really seem like it's a fact-finding mission, as opposed to just kind of, you know, filler. You know, got to fill some pages.
Right. Yeah, it's true.
Now,
the other thing. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, so some of the other things in there was when he was talking about at the beginning that he He's like, they're saying it's a debate, but I don't really look at it like that. I look at it more as more of a what's it called? He say a chance to educate or whatever. And then you go on to listen to him saying things like, "Are you smoking crack?" and all these things. I'm like, is this your teaching method, Kratz?
Oh, yeah.
Right? You know, I don't know. I like to poke fun at him because it's like, yeah, you were really doing a great job as the teacher there.
That's probably the worst kind of teacher that you could possibly imagine, because this person supposedly has lost, like a lot of his life due to his challenges and his trials and tribulations with drugs and his addiction. And to turn around and look somebody in the eye and ask them, "Are you addicted to crack?" I mean, that was the most, I couldn't think
or are you
of
smoking crack?
who that should be more offensive to Rookie himself, whenever he's looking at him, asking him that, or to anyone who's faced a life of addiction, to have a former addict actually belittle the feeling of being addicted enough to say that, like, just bluntly and carefree. It's like when he said it, it's like, I really have no care in the world what the repercussions of that one line could be. I mean, I've said stupid things that we all have, but he really should have been a lot more sensitive to the verbiage, to quote what's her name. He should have been much more careful of his wording when he was speaking with him. But I saw no respect whatsoever from Kratz to Rookie at all. And granted, a lot of people were griping that, Andy didn't stand to shake his hand. I wouldn't stand for Kratz either. I don't think anybody would. I stand for the two guys that are in prison and pretty much all the supporters. Right. So, it's kind of one of those things that you didn't know what you were going to get with that clip, but man, am I glad we got it.
Oh yeah, dude, that's a minute and 47 seconds of gold right there. Dude, Rookie knocked it out of the park, dude. Man,
yeah, I just call that
much props. Much props, dude. Anyway, that was awesome. Because when I first saw them tweet about it, and it said that there was going to be like 4 hours of footage or something or whatever, and I typed in there, I was like, oh wow, I hope we get to see most of it or whatever. And somebody else came on immediately and said, oh no, it's not going to be. It's going to be a pro Kratz piece or whatever. And so I was like, oh man, I hope it's not going to be another Kratz stroking, right? And so it turns out that it's not.
It was. I know. They really hyped it up like it was going to be told from the law enforcement and district attorney's side, and Ken Kratz was finally going to get his say. Well, he got a say, and we all saw it, and it was funny. Yeah. I couldn't stop laughing. I've showed it to like 15, 20 different people. And I'm like, this is the guy that put you guys in prison. And they go, you got to be kidding me.
So one person asked, I wanted to, before I forget about this, someone asked, will you be at Raleigh this year by chance?
Oh, unfortunately, no. I will never step foot in the state of Wisconsin because I like being free. No, I got to be honest. I joke about Wisconsin a lot, but I think it is one of the most beautiful states that we have. And I've never really paid attention to Wisconsin until Making a Murderer. And when you see some of the scenery, I mean, their lakes are absolutely beautiful. Yeah. And, I love to fish. And to be able to go out fishing on those lakes would probably be one of the most amazing experiences. They have some of the greatest architecture and structures, and their history is very, very rich.
A lot of really cool brick buildings and stuff. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just the current architecture that's there, but, there was a time when I was, like, just chasing rabbit holes, and I was looking at, possibility that Brad Check could have been involved. This is back in my early days of theorizing. And I was thinking, Brad Check could be involved, and he used to take photographs and at this place called the Alexian Brotherhood, or Alexian Brothers is a structure. It was about an hour and a half or 2 hours away. And when I saw the beauty of some of those buildings, or just, it's a former, I want to say an insane asylum, but it's maybe a hospital. I didn't really get too deep into the history, but it's kind of like a respected place now. And, it's got like groundskeepers and all that stuff, but it's just a torn down or decrepit old building. But when you look at some of the photos of that place, it makes you magically want to be there. That's how amazingly beautiful Wisconsin can be. Yeah,
the drive-in from Green Bay to Manitowoc, man, just looking out at the rolling green fields that lead into the really thick kind of forests that are, it's like It's beautiful. It is. It's like just all rolling green. Well, when it's not snowy, anyway.
It really has that small town look to it. You know, I grew up in kind of a small town, and it wasn't really small, but it was kind of like everybody. You knew your neighbors, you know, and it wasn't like you knew your neighbors really well. It was like, you know, you'd run into people that you knew maybe 2 or 3 times a week, you know. But it had not the population of Manitowoc, maybe 50,000, 40,000, something like that.
Right.
And it just takes me back to my childhood, you know, like riding bikes up and down the street, you know, and hearing the cicadas in the trees, you know, late night summer, you know, on summer nights. And there's just, to me, so much beauty about the state that it makes me regret the fact that, you know, I kind of like burning bridges, I guess you could say, you know, and having people in Wisconsin that really don't like the fact that I support Stephen and Brendan, you know. But I mean,
I imagine they don't like me either, but they let me out. They let me out.
Did you get out of Wisconsin with good behavior?
I was there last year for Raleigh. It was brilliant. I got to go and see the trailer and see a lot of the where the car crusher was, and went over by where the RAV4 was found. This year when I get there, I'm kind of have a plan. I got to still organize it, but I have a plan to kind of do with my GoPro and just walk the berm and go all the way around.
Does it look really different now than it did back in 2005?
I would say, yeah.
Like on the Flyover video that you see.
I would say, yeah. Like there's definitely a lot less cars than there was then.
Well, I hope your visit wasn't as edited as the Flyover video was. You know, because I couldn't tell, like, from 1 minute to the next, you know, am I in Avery's? Am I in the quarry? Am I downtown? Am I in Green Bay? I have no idea exactly where, you know, each video shot is supposed to be because it jumps around so much.
Right. Which is important when it's in multiple places like that, right? Especially in a plane, because they cover so much ground, right? Anyway.
Yeah. I mean, they for 4 hours they give us a whole minute and a half of like tourism video, I guess you could call it. You know.
Right. Yeah. That Flyover is a joke. It's like right when they finally get near where the RAV4 actually is, you know, it's like it's like there's a cut or something, or it's like such a bad angle of the spot where, you know, and yeah, it's just weird. Or when they are about to get a good shot, like for some reason inexplicably the camera just goes downward or something like.
Yeah, I think it was Wendy Baldwin that was filming, because you can hear Poggle sitting close to Curtis Drum, the pilot, and you can hear them talking just as they're about to film Avery's, and I think Poggle says something like it could be, or, you know, something like that. But Baldwin, I think, is holding the shaky VHS camera. I've got to ask this: who authorized a deputy to take a VHS camera up in the air to film something when, at the same time, digital video was in existence? They could have digitally videoed it and made it to where you can see much more clearly. I mean, for crying out loud, they were 500 feet above the ground with a VHS camera, but on the insert machine, they used a digital camera 2 feet above the stupid machine.
Right.
You know, where was the thinking? Where was the thought? What was the thought process on that? You know?
Well, I don't think there was any thinking in this, really, was there? I mean, there was thinking, but it was like, wasn't thinking about how to do a good investigation. It was how to do what they wanted but to also kind of try to make it seem like a good investigation. Right.
They would have done a better job taking Leonardo DiCaprio up in the plane to sketch the entire property,
there
as opposed to the way that Baldwin filmed it.
Yeah.
It was absolutely horribly shot, and the editing. I mean, when you have a woman at the beginning telling how to delete video off of the VHS tape that you see deleted video on, I mean, how much more of that? That's basically just confessing, oh, you're going to see a really edited video here.
Right.
It's just terrible.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Wicked Wendy. Good old Wicked Wendy.
Yeah, she's all over the place.
So, okay, now we're gonna ask about you a little bit.
Oh, myself?
One of my favorite things about you, actually, and I'm gonna do a little screen share here and show everybody your former profile pic. You know, the Peter Griffin one, right?
Oh yeah. My no guilters allowed.
I want you to tell everybody that story.
That's the thing. I wish guilters understood that making fun of me is not going to work, because I will just turn it around and accept it and embrace it. And to me, I mean, that's attention. I mean, if you really want to give me that attention, fine, I'll accept it, and I'll give you like what you want, you know, the acknowledgement that, yeah, you made fun of me. So what? There it is.
But see, that's what I love about it. So tell everybody, I got it up on the screen for everybody to look at. Tell everybody the story about this picture.
That picture was actually created by a guilter. They thought it was funny, so they put it up on Reddit. And I literally loved it. I mean, I love Family Guy anyway, so you hit my funny bone there. But then to make that little sign that says no guilters allowed, I mean, come on, you've gotta have that. And I had that for a long time, and then I started to change my profile picture. I forgot what all it was for, what the first change was. But then it started to be more addressed towards what's going on in the case and with crack. You know, like right now, it's the two most famous crackheads that I can think of: Tyrone Biggums from Chappelle's Show, and Pookie from the movie New Jack City. Right. So I figure, you know, I've got to pay homage to Ken's acknowledgement of the fact that perhaps we are on crack. You know, quite obviously none of us are, but I would hope. But if he's going to, you know, if he's going to have fun with it and say something he thinks is really relevant and funny, then I'm just going to have fun with it and run with it. Right.
Hold on a second while I turn something on.
God, I remember those days when I hated Twitter.
Studio's getting a little bit warm, so.
Oh, is the phone cutting out?
Sorry, that? What?
Was my phone cutting out?
No. I just had to turn on the AC because I was about to die in here. Anyway. So that's it, guys. I love this one, by the way, folks. I just like what he said. I loved it because it had Peter Griffin on it, and it was just like kind of, you know, with the pillow fort and all that. So I just kind of found it funny that way. And then like he was saying with the no guilters allowed. And then when I heard him explain where it came from, that made it even better. So
yeah. Because the way that I set up TikTok, the Reddit page, was actually, you know, kind of like trying to get back at some of the people that were on Reddit originally in the former Making a Murder Reddit page. That really made the experience very brutal. They were snide, hateful, and when I created TikTok, it was going to be guilters and truthers allowed, you know, no problems. But then I think there was 9 originally that were absolutely just toxic. Like Mick, of course, he was the worst. But there were some really bad ones, and when it was first opened, there were guilters allowed. Yeah. And then there was a joke made, to kind of give a history of people that don't know. There's a joke made. Somebody came on TikTok and put a post up about how they had found Toyota keys on the beach. They were walking along, their dog was digging in the sand by a drain pipe and found Toyota keys with several, like house keys, and, you know, there was a lot of keys on it. They were really scared because people were walking by and looking at them and, oh my God, I don't know what I should do. And the supporters, being nice people they were, saying, you know, whatever you do, make sure you're protected. You know, first get to safety, take the keys, put them in a plastic bag, you know, don't pick them up with your fingers, make sure you get them to Kathleen's owner. They were just being very supportive. And then turn around a couple of days later and see that it was just a guilter playing a prank on truthers. And I was like, you know what? I want to know who that was. So I asked him, you know, I'll give you 36 hours to let us know who it was that played this practical joke. And if not, TikTok Manitowoc goes to the truther only. And they refused to tell who it was. So they were pretty much, I banned everybody on site. You know, everybody that was of the opposing thought process on Avery and Dassey. I felt like, you know, I created it, so I can do what I want. And it wasn't like me hating guilters. It was just the fact that I didn't want them to feel like they could run over TikTok Manitowoc like they did the Making a Murderer Reddit. So they haven't changed. They've shown their true colors. That and I don't hate guilters. I don't want guilters to ever think I hate them.
Yeah, I agree.
It's guilt by association. You know, one bad apple ruins a bunch. And when you have 10 bad apples, obviously, you know, you got a rotten orchard. Yeah. So it's just a matter of, I wish that it could have worked out to where the two sides could have gotten along. But there's so many toxic people, and I won't default guilters thinking that they're the only toxic ones. I have seen toxic truthers, and some of them I just didn't want on TikTok. So they face bans like a guy like Sandman or the Edward Wayne Edwards guy. You know, just people that were just not respectful all I wanted people to do was come to TikTok and just talk about the case. Or I take that back. I wanted them to be on the original Reddit Making a Murderer page, just talking about their support for Stephen, where they felt like everything went wrong, why it is that so many people are affected by this case. And to be honest with you, I didn't expect the feels that I had from the case that I had. I mean, I want you to just think I was going to be entertained.
Right.
I think it was the moment that you heard, do we have Stephen Avery in custody, that I was absolutely addicted to that documentary, and I had to watch every episode immediately. So I couldn't believe they were doing that to him. After releasing him from prison, they turn around and just arrest him for a murder, and before they even have any evidence, they already want to know if they have him in custody.
Right.
It was wow. And, one of the key things that one of the key mistakes that I noticed a lot of people made with Making a Murderer is they watched it and then kind of gave up on it. If you go back and you rewatch it, I mean, I watched it probably maybe 13 times in the span of a month.
Yeah.
And no matter what, there's always something you miss. And I did that probably in the first few months, and then I stopped watching it. I felt like I'd learned enough from it, and I had the case files. I was going through them daily, reading and rereading things, kind of making a mental notation of where everything is at so I can find it very quickly. And, it was doing that, this whole luring thing that Ken loves to talk about, Avery lured her out there. If I hadn't gone back and read, I would have never found the Dawn interview with DCI, where she basically details how Stephen called in, and she informed him that they don't typically do same day photography or appointments.
Right.
And he said, well, the girl, basically he was telling her, well, the girl's done it before. He's not saying I want Teresa out here. He didn't say it all creepy. He didn't even call her by name.
Right.
He called her she. And Ken is saying he specifically asked for her when he called in.
Yeah, send that same girl as before, I think, is the words Ken uses.
Yeah, she's been out here before, and then for him to say, he gave a fake name. He didn't give a fake name. Dawn couldn't understand him because he has that thick Wisconsin accent. Granted, she may be from Wisconsin as well, but she just couldn't understand him. It sounded like he was slurring. So when she heard the name, he's saying Barbara Yonda, and I probably wouldn't know that if I heard it. So she wrote down B Yonda, and he's given a mysterious, fake name. Right.
The way they're trying to make mountains out of molehills is very telling. Absolutely.
Yeah, and the kicker to me is how no other employee except for who was it? Angela Schuster has ever mentioned any other photographer besides Teresa, and Schuster immediately told DCI about Williford. And to me, I always felt like the fact that she said that Williford worked for the state was really, really weird. I was like, why would a state employee be taking photographs of cars? And I always wondered if there was something more to that. And whenever I saw the Convicted a Murderer trailer, I saw Kathy Williford, former Auto Trader employee, and I got to Google her. So I Googled it up and took a look, and sure enough, a file came up, or a former appeal in a case, in a drug case, where she's listed as Special Agent Kathy Williford. Of course, the K is spelled with a C, but why would I couldn't figure out why in the world a Department of Justice Special Agent is doing on the Avery property 10 months before Teresa even shows up for the Halloween photograph. So, there's things like that. There's little things that if you recall.
The other thing too is, why would he call Auto Trader if he had her number? He could have done this all way more on the down low. Why?
What murder leaves a paper trail? I can't think of a single person that's, thinking, hey, let me just call the person I'm going to murder and make sure that everyone knows that she's going to be at my house.
Right.
Because she's never going to leave. So I want everyone that she works with to know that.
Right.
That's the problem that a lot of people have with the fact that I refuse to admit or even acknowledge the fact that Avery could be guilty, because the logic doesn't answer it. you can ask questions, from now until tomorrow or next year, next millennium. You can ask all the questions you want. It all boils down to where's the logic.
Yeah.
You're gonna burn a body in between two houses where 5 other people live in the other house. Hey, that. How many times have you ever walked by somebody's barbecue and been like, "Wow, they're really burning their"? Come on, a couple of hamburgers on a barbecue grill can stink up an entire neighborhood.
Right.
But you're gonna tell me that you put a corpse on a fire? There's people for miles that are gonna smell that.
Right.
I mean, no disrespect to Teresa's memory or anything, but there's absolutely no way that she was burned in a populated location. And the quarry makes perfect sense. I mean, there's obviously no one around for a long ways. If you ever looked at an overhead map of where the bones were found, where the 8675, the hip bone, the pelvic bone, where that was found, I mean, there's nobody, there's no houses, there's nothing. I mean, that is a desolate area.
Right.
And, I mean, when I first used to theorize about the case, I mean, I came up with some wild, outlandish theories, and some of them, I mean, they still make sense. The Carmen Bluewell thing, I had a thread on the former Making a Murderer. I think I picked it up from somebody else. They may not be on Reddit anymore. If they are, then, kudos to you for kind of the tip-off. But I had no idea at the time that Carmen Bluewell had died on the same day that she was reported missing. And it started to, dawn on me that, wow, could it be that Teresa's body is in the ground somewhere and they substituted Carmen's body? Mm-hmm. But then I'm thinking, how can they get the DNA? And then I find out, well, there's only one bone that had DNA. And then I find out the FBI never even, got a little profile off of it. And the more that it just, the more information that was out there, it started to make more sense that, perhaps my theory isn't so far off. I came up with I was thinking about the Zipper dog, You got George Zipper talking about his dog being so fierce. And you've got Lemieux documenting the dog in her report. They're banging on his door for 20 to 30 minutes before he comes out, and nobody mentions the dog.
Right.
So I started thinking,
AC points out the dogs are not biased, which is true. Go ahead.
Yeah, dogs aren't biased. Yeah. So I felt like it could be possible. She's taking a picture at the Zipper's property, and she walks down towards the car. The dog breaks free from its chain and attacks her because he's a fierce dog, as was mentioned. She's a stranger on his property, and if the dog attacked her and bit her, then I theorized that maybe Mrs. Zipper was shooting at the dog, to get the dog off of Teresa, accidentally hit Teresa. Bam! You don't have a murder, you have an accidental death, but they were afraid. I mean, I had a lot of theories when I first came into Making a Murderer.
Right.
And some of them sounded outlandish, and I agree. I mean, I'll be the first to admit that. I always jump in a rabbit hole, and I'll dig until it stops. And if I can't find anything further, or I'm told I'm going the wrong way, then I'll back off of it and be like, okay, well, time to move on to another location. Right. And there's other theories that other people do, and I would never talk to anyone. I shouldn't say that. I would never talk anyone out of a logical rabbit hole. If what they're saying makes sense, keep digging. And for anybody that is supporting and looking over the documents, keep digging. And even after you've dug as far as you can, go back and redig, because there's so many things that I've noticed. I've read it and it didn't register. And then whenever I go back and I reread it, for the second, even the third, maybe even the fourth time, it makes sense. And it goes, wow, it's so many stunning things. Alex Quadrini, he's the gentleman that was convicted of murder. I had no idea that. I think you may have even pointed something out before about the voicemails. I think I picked up on that. Mike Hallback had listened to her voicemails before anybody even arrived, before law enforcement had even been there. Right. And I can't figure out for the life of me why he wasn't giving the voicemail details to the cops. Yeah. And then I go back and I reread, and then I see that Fassbender had to get a search warrant, a subpoena, in order to get her voicemail records, and he didn't even get those until 7 months after Brendan was already arrested, a month after Brendan was arrested. I'm like, why didn't he just get those voicemails from Mike Callback? Why wouldn't Mike Callback help find my sister? Here's all the people that called her in the last 3 days. Right. So there's definitely a reason that the family, I feel like they could have worked with the police better. And to this day, I really hope that the Hallbacks start to like everything should be done in
Yes.
her memory. And
100%,
to
folks.
me, yeah, she didn't get any justice whatsoever. I mean,
Yep.
the justice for Stephen that we're searching for, it's not just the justice for him, it's complete justice for Teresa. So I feel like if they reopen an investigation or if they do a new trial, we'll start to see some answers come out that will provide justice for everybody.
Okay, one more question before we have to disconnect here, because we got somebody else call in here in a few minutes.
Okay.
Who is your number one suspect? Russell Gatton wants to know.
I get asked that quite a bit, who I think did it, and I alternate back and forth because I can see theories on both sides. I would say Scott and Bobby would be the most logical, because you have the RAV4 that is found near the Avery salvage, and if it's not Stephen, it's got to be somebody that's in the close proximity.
Right.
Bobby lies way too much. He's got way too many lies on his docket. Then you have Scott, who's alibying Bobby, so that to me associates him. I don't know if I'd see Scott more of a murder as a cover-up, but I just the porn, all the things, the deer, lying about the deer. I mean, it's something so innocent, but yet it's such a huge lie. But I also can see it where it would be Ryan and Scott, over on her side. The only illogical thing that I can't think of is how they would get her RAV4. They killed her at home. How they would get her RAV4 back over to the Avery property 45 miles away.
Right.
Granted, yes, it hasn't been reported missing or anything like that. They could have easily drove it, but somebody would have seen it on the road. Possibly. I would think possibly before the 4th. And the reports started coming in like the 3rd or the 4th. That it was on the side of the road. So
right.
If you're asking like who I would suspect would be guilty, I would say between the 4 of those, I would lean more towards Bobby, but I can't say for sure that that's my number one suspect. I would rank them, but it would be really, really hard to rank them as far as who I think could have done it, because everything with Ryan, with the blinker, with the date planner, there's so many things with him
that
make it seem he could be just as guilty as anybody who's.
That's where I kind of look, is that I'm number one concerned with who the hell this was calling and harassing Teresa, specifically. Who was it?
Sorry about that. But I'll wrap it up. I'll just say that, just listen to Zellner. If she is telling you who she thinks did it, then she obviously knows a lot more than we do. So we only have what we're provided, and she has what the state provided. So
it's also a chess game.
Her everything.
I would say it's also a chess game. I'd say she's not always showing all of her cards.
Yeah. So she's if you look at it like a Texas Hold'em tournament, she's basically sitting there with headphones on, sunglasses, and she's giving absolutely
poker face.
Best poker face ever. She's not going to let her opponent know anything that she has. So Ken, he may get cocky, he may get arrogant, but I really have a feeling he does not know what he's in for.
Yeah.
I mean, if Rookie got him that rattled, imagine what Zellner's going to do to him.
Oh, absolutely, right? Yeah. All right.
But I'm gonna let you get to your next call. It was really good talking to you. It's great seeing you.
Hey, would you be willing to consider coming back on maybe on Sunday?
Yeah. Well, actually, Sunday is probably bad, but maybe Saturday I can come back on.
Sunday night, or Saturday afternoon.
I'll look at your schedule for tomorrow and come in and do a little bit more talking. And I didn't really get to answer, like a lot of the questions I'm sure a lot of people have,
sure.
the chat. I wasn't really much in the chat. But, if anybody wants to ask questions, they're in tomorrow. I'm definitely going to be watching you guys. So I'll stay awake tonight to watch Allie and as far as I can. But, I mean, you guys are doing a great thing. And I think
thank you.
Basically having 48 straight hours of support for these guys is just the kickoff to hopefully what we can look forward to in justice, because really that's all we're looking for.
Right. Yep. Awesome. Thank you for being here, man. It's great having you on.
Have a good weekend. I'll try to talk to you tomorrow and have a great rest of the show.
Yes, thank you. And you have a good weekend, buddy.
All right.
See you, bud. All right. That was pretty cool, folks. I have liked TikTok for a long, long time. I've followed him on Twitter. I remember when he was, ran out of the Reddit community or ran out of Reddit and everything. And so he set up shop on Twitter. And I mean, dude, I just love it when his tweets are awesome. There was one point I was going to bring it up to him while he was on there, but maybe if he comes back on tomorrow, I'll talk to him about it. But there was a point in time where he was apparently reading the SAIG, Stephen Avery is Guilty Reddit, which is the opposite of Tock Manitowoc. And he was like finding statements by guilters, and he was like that he could easily like answer and disprove and show as a fallacy or whatever. And he was taking screenshots of just the comments, and then he was putting in like documents to support it and that sort of stuff. So anyway, okay, we have another caller, folks.